Hello guys. Cadjpy has been giving people a lot of money for quite some time now, and I'm going to be showing us how we can join these people making money from buying Cadjpy this week. So stick with me as we look at the top-down analysis of Cadjpy. So I'm currently on the monthly time frame, and of course, for those that have been following my style of analysis, we try to do two major things on this time frame. First is to map out our key zones, which I already have done here by way of those rectangular bars. And the second is to get our directional bias. And for those of us that do not know how to draw those key zones, I have a video on the channel that can help you learn how to do so. And as for our directional bias, I stated earlier that people have been buying CAD-JPY. So that means if people have been doing so, that simply means that CAD-JPY has been in an uptrend for quite some time. And just to look at the market structure, we can see that the CAD-JPY has been making higher highs, higher lows, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, and it's currently trying to what to push upwards by way of those mini high, higher low, and higher high. However, it is not just a bad direction for the monthly time frame. We also try to look at destination. So from our directional bias, we can already see that JPY is heading upwards. Then as for our destination, we look at this major resistance zone here that we drew from the that we've drawn on the monthly time frame. So from this place where price currently is to this um resistance zone, we can see that the distance may look a bit short, but because we're on the monthly time frame, this can still give us a whole lot of pips and a whole lot of money if we're able to jump in. Another thing that I want to show us just to strengthen our view that CAD-JPY still remains in an uptrend is the fact that we had an inverse head and shoulder from where CAD-JPY left off from. So we have the left shoulder, the right shoulder, the head, and then the left shoulder. So this is a neckline. Let me just map this out for us to see properly, trying to keep this video as short as possible. So we have the left shoulder, the head, and the right shoulder. That's a neckline that has been taken out on the monthly time frame. So, like I always try to tell people, there's what I call perfect scenario. The perfect scenario for CAD-JPY would be for price to come back to retest this neckline properly and move upwards. But however, because of the momentum of the bullish candles that I'm seeing, I don't see that happening anytime soon. So the best thing for us to do would be to go to the much lower time frame to see how we can join this bullish momentum and make money from it. That is as a lot of people have been doing in the past few months. So we'll go to the weekly time frame. And on the weekly time frame, mainly we'll try to get a chart pattern of the market to work with, a candlestick chart pattern to work with. And if there is none, then we can always go to the daily time frame to look at the most recent trend of the market. But looking at this weekly time frame closely, we can see that it still takes us back to the inverse head and shoulder pattern that we saw from the monthly time frame. So you can see that the inverse head and shoulder pattern becomes much more pronounced. And like I said, a perfect scenario would be price retracing into this area and then giving us opportunity to continue the buy. And just to show that even more, excuse me, coming into this area and continuing upward. And just to show this even more, we can have like a trend line here. So price will be making one, two, and a third touch of the trend line and then going upwards. However, having this setup in mind, we can see that the green candles we're seeing here, or the bullish momentum, is still indicating that price might not just be ready to do this yet. So what do we do next? We go to the daily time frame. Let me take this out, as I like to keep my charts as clean as possible to avoid any form of confusion. So the next thing we get to do will be to go to the daily time frame. Like I said, this video is going to be very, very short. Now, on the daily time frame, even if everything still aligns with what we've seen from the monthly and the weekly time frame. We can, however, see that there's an opportunity for us to include like an internal trend line on this daily time frame. Why? Because this is where people have been making money from recently. So this would be my trend line. Let me take this out because, like I always tell people, daily time frame gives us the most recent happening in the market. So now this is the trend line for the daily time frame. You can see that price has been making higher highs, higher lows, higher high, higher lows, higher high, higher lows, higher high, higher lows. And this seems likely to continue this week as a lot of people have been waiting for these retracements and jumping into the buy for the market. Another thing I would like to show us is that this uptrend in the on the daily time frame has been respecting the Fibonacci retracement two as well. Now, how has it been respecting the two? It has been retracing back into the two and heading upwards. And there's a place I call the Fibonacci retracement golden zone. So let me just show us from the most recent retracement. So it came back into the 50, the zone between the 50% and 61.8% zone before heading upwards. Now, of course, we know that we always try to use the past behavior of price to predict possible future behavior. So just most recently, price came into this level and was pushed upwards. Let's see. And then again, from this swing low to swing high, you can see that from swing low to this swing high, price came retraced back into this level and pushed upwards. So by reason of that, or by reason of this, of what price had done previously, I can always come here and include my Fibonacci retracement to here, to where price just took off from. Now, the reason I'm including this 2 years because I'm already seeing like the formation of a doji candle on the daily time frame. So if I'm to zoom in for us to see what I'm talking about, this is a doji candle, and the presence of doji candle usually signifies a reduction in momentum in that particular direction. So if I come back to mark out my golden zone, there are two things I'd like us to take note of. Now, the first thing is that price is the golden zone is aligning with what is a form of support zone. So if I pull this way, you can see that the golden zone is aligning with a support zone. Why also, if we pull it to the right, we can see that it will come to align with what the trend line that we drew. So, like I always say, I try as much as possible to break this down to even those of us that trade in on the much lower time frame. So let's go to the 4-hour time frame to look at this setup properly. So if we come to the 4-hour time frame, there is still another opportunity for us that trade on this lower time frame to include an internal trend line. So when you do this for Cadjpy this week, the best way to approach this market would be to wait for price. As we can see that sellers are already trying to push price downwards sort of. So the best way to get into this uptrending market that has been giving people a lot of money would be to wait for price to come back down into, to retrace down into, excuse me, into this golden zone, and then we can start looking forward our buy trades. So and by then we'll be having a first at one touch of the trend line, second touch, and then a third touch of this trend line. So this would be my outlook or my take or how I will approach JPY for this trading week. It wouldn't make sense to start pumping in buys here now as the price is already very high. So it will be best to look for an opportunity to get into the market at the best possible price. So you can see our confluence put together. We have a trend line, we have the market trending in the upwards direction, while with Fibonacci retracement to with the golden zone aligning with a support area and a possible test touch of the bullish trend line. So if you you're into the trading of forex or this particular minor currency pair, you can compare this with your own analysis this week and monitor this and join all those that have been making money from it. So this is the 1 hour time frame, which is the much lower time frame. You can see that the bears or the sellers are already trying to push price downwards, as already have lower lows and lower highs forming. So if this were to continue, then price would most definitely do this and get into this area. So it wouldn't make sense to start buying now. So gently wait for price to come into this place and then you take your buying opportunity. So like I always say, if this video has been of any value to you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We run a trading academy where we help people to learn how to analyze the market skillfully, like I had just done with this video. And if you're interested, we are currently running a very, very discounted program. You can reach out to us via the link and details on this YouTube bio. I also have a free Telegram channel where we drop trading tips from time to time, as well as free training sessions from time to time. If you're interested, you can click on the link attached to the description of this video. Do have a fruitful trading week and cheers.